It's M. Dubois coming at you with day 5 of 90 days of positive content. Super excited to be with you this morning. I do want to take a quick second and thank everyone who's been reaching out and giving me feedback via text message and on my posts and on the YouTube channel. I really truly appreciate it. Appreciate your kindness, your feedback, letting me know what's working well, what you think I can improve. It's been super, super amazing. So thank you. It's a gift that you're giving me when you do that. So thank you very much. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about storytelling and stories in general. Storytelling and stories are an extremely powerful tool in our arsenal of tools. Storytelling has its place in many different arenas, from the business world to sales and marketing to personal life to getting your point across. Storytelling is powerful because as humans, we're all having the human experience. So even when it's not your story and it's not something that actually happened to you, you can generally find some level of relatability because it's happening to someone else who's also having that human experience. So when a story is used in a positive manner and someone draws from something that has happened to them and they can tell that story and they can call on the joy and the positivity and the happiness and all the good that they were feeling during a period of time, you can feel that energy, and it can touch a lot of people because a lot of people have had a good and positive experience at some point in their life. So as a human, subconsciously, we're telling those stories in a manner to relate to others. Where storytelling can be a little bit detrimental, or a lot detrimental, is when you're reliving or telling stories that are negative of what happened to you that you didn't love, of what caused anger or rage or sadness in your life. And we do this a lot of times subconsciously. Like, we hear someone say something and then you say, oh, I can relate to that. I have a similar story. And you go right into, this is my story and this is what happened to me. And if you listen to people's conversations, which I'm very fascinated with lately, is just listening in on how people interact, you'll find that sometimes someone will bring something up, especially if it's something negative, and before their thought is fully out of their mouth, the person they're interacting with will jump in with their negative thought that trumps that one, or that is very similar, and why you can relate to them because this happened to me. And of course, I'm not saying you can relate to me or I relate to you because this happened. It's just, it's human nature that we just throw it in. Oh yeah, I totally understand. This happened to me 4 years ago, blah, blah, blah. And you go into the whole spiel. Now, what we don't realize that we're doing when we're doing this storytelling is that we're actually reliving what happened in the past. So if it was something that was negative, that brought sadness, that caused rage or anger, anything really negative, you're pulling that energy in to who you are, into your soul, into the words that you're speaking, and that energy lingers. It vibrates throughout your body. It can be there for hours and days and weeks at a time. So when you're bringing in that negative narrative and you're reliving those things that were less than positive that happened to you, you're pulling all of that in. Even if you've done the self-work to get over whatever happened to you, even if you've read all the books and you've gone to all the talks and you're now in a really good headspace, you're pulling that in, and now you've just relived it and the energy is there and it's going to linger. So I would challenge you to listen to the stories that you're telling and to listen to the narrative that you're putting out there. And that when you're interacting with people and they bring something up, when you're jumping in with your very own thing that happened similar to that, and the way that you're telling that story and the energy that you're bringing. Yesterday, I was at a store and I was waiting in line, in a very long line, and there were 2 women in front of me, and you could tell that they knew each other. They were talking, they were chatting with each other, and one of them goes into total storytelling mode. And she's talking about a divorce that she had gone through, it sounded like a few years back. And she is reliving this. You can hear the anger in her voice, you can hear the sadness, you can hear the rage. She is on fire. She is a prime storyteller. She's being animated, and you can tell the energy coming from her is that she's reliving this. She was emphasizing at all the right points. She's waiting for the other individual to respond and to react. And you could tell that she'd gone through this story and rehearsed it many times. And when I say rehearse, I don't mean she stood in front of the mirror and said, I'm going to tell my story and I'm going to do it just like this. Just that she'd done it so consistently that it was flawless. It flowed. It looked like she was performing it for an audience. And what this individual didn't realize is that she's pulling on all of that energy, all that negativity, all that hurt, all that anger, and she's pulling that into her life, and that's going to linger within her for hours and days and sometimes weeks at a time. So I challenge you to listen for the narrative that you're putting out there. And if it's something that's negative, stop yourself. And it's totally okay to do that. You know, if someone's telling you a story and you jump in with, oh, well, this happened to me 4 years ago, and you catch yourself doing that. So you know what? I was just going to tell you about a similar story, but to be honest, that was then and this is now, and I would really much rather talk about something that's a little bit more positive because I can tell that it also was painful or hard for you. And here's what my relationship is like now, or here is what my friendship is like now, or here is the job that I have now. Whatever it is, find something in the now that is good and great and that you're working towards and change the narrative. Wherever possible, when you're telling stories, try to call on the mental stories that brought you joy and happiness and goodness. And when you do that, you're going to be pulling that energy into your life, and that energy is going to linger. And you want the good energy lingering for hours and days and weeks. And you'll find that over time, this becomes a very, very important tool in your arsenal of tools when you're trying to get to the next level, when you're leveling up, or when you're trying to get to a better place. Be mindful of the stories you're telling yourself. Be mindful of the stories you're telling others. And wherever possible, draw and connect with humans. It's important that we connect with one another, but you can connect with humans with all the good energy, all the good stories. And even when they're going through something rough and you call on a good memory, on a good story, they're going to relate to that, even if they're not in a great place. But you're gifting them the ability to pull themselves out of the negative. That's all for today. I hope it added some value. I hope that you all try it. I hope that you guys all spend some time looking for and challenge yourself to look for the stories that you're telling, the stories that those people around you are telling, and help them. Give them the gift of interruption and make them focus on something else and have them call other energy. Whatever it is that you're doing today and every day, I hope you do it in love. Love hard.